Welcome back to the Backyard Professor Chess videos. Let's get on with some chess here. I have a fantastic game to demonstrate to you how to do a kingside attack. This is phenomenal how this works. Viktor Korchnoi is playing the white pieces and Garry Kasparov is playing the black pieces. This is the King's Indian defense that Garry throws on Victor. It was done in 1991, and it's quite an instructive game here. Knight f3, knight f6, c4. He's going to bump the c to take hold of the center. Kasparov doesn't immediately claim the center with pawn occupation, but he does fight for the center with the fianchetto bishop coming and hitting the d4 square, the dark d4 square here. Korchnoi is going to possess the center with his pawns. Kasparov is going to go a little bit more subtle, more calm. Now this is classical chess setup, isn't it? You got the pawns occupying the center, you got knights on safe squares controlling the center. That's good classical chess. Kasparov is not neglecting the center. He's just doing it a little bit differently than how Korchnoi is doing it. And he will castle at this point. Get the king to safety is his priority, bishop e2, and now he at least tickles the center. He's letting Korchnoi know, you're not going to give me a pawn roller through the center for sure. I'll challenge you. At least have a representative of the center. At this point, Korchnoi castles. Good solid move to castle, get out of the way of any shenanigans that Kasparov is going to throw at him. Kasparov continues good solid development, again not neglecting the center at all. With this knight move, rather than take and open up the queen file and exchange the queens, Korchnoi pushes. And this will put Kasparov's knight on the miserable e7 square. And yes, I'm joking. There's nothing wrong in bumping that knight to e7 because it's going to help Kasparov in his kingside attack. We shall see. And now Korchnoi looks like he's beginning to abandon the center with knight e1. What a wussy move. No. Not a wussy move at all. What is his thinking? The setup Korchnoi has taken, he is going to go on the queen side. The bump back of the knight helps facilitate a queenside attack because it is fundamental in a queenside attack to push the c pawn to 5. But without any backup, that's a complete waste of move. Right? You don't just push it, you prepare to push it. That's what this knight moves. The idea is when he's got everything set up good for the queen side, he will bump this knight to d3, and now the pawn has real good support for the queen side. So he's not abandoning the center. Technically, he locked the center. But this bump back is not an error. I know there are some YouTube video makers, chess YouTube makers, who say you never move pieces back. I don't know if I agree with that. In fact, I don't agree with that. If it helps in another technical phase of your game, you must move some pieces back in order to put them on more optimal squares that helps your plan. Yeah? So that's enough said on that, but they are not abandoning the center. Now, the reason I'm making such a big deal about this is because now Kasparov bumps his knight back to d7. And you're going, no, 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 that doesn't give you a strong center at all. Oh, but it does. It's already a strong center. The pawns are locked. We got to recognize that position, guys. When the center is locked, you take the wing. Whichever wing your strength is on. Now, Korchnoi has more space, something that Kasparov himself mentioned in his notes to this game. And he said his space is better on the queen side, so he's going to go queen side. So that leaves me, my pawns are pointing to the king side, that leaves me to go to the king side. So nothing is going to come through that center. Nothing is going to come through that center. Let me repeat that again. When the center is locked, then you can adjust and re-coordinate your pieces for maximum effect. That is what we are seeing happen. And you're saying, well, there are only 6, 7, 8 moves into it. That's correct. With the center locked, it doesn't matter if you're only 1 move in the game. If the center's locked. Did you catch the, yeah, the anomaly, whatever. So with the center locked, this is good play. It truly is. And now, bishop to e3. Again, this move makes beautiful sense, you guys. He's developing another piece. You notice they're not leaving very many pieces undeveloped. No, they usually don't. He's developing another piece, the piece that aims toward the queen side. Yeah? So Kasparov's going to have to keep on his toes with these pawns. Right? Especially when Korchnoi starts doing this and this. Kasparov's going to have to pay real close attention to it, yeah? So, this piece helps facilitate that. Now, blam, F5, Ben Feingold is having a calyptic fit. Let him. It doesn't matter. Garry Kasparov knows what he's doing. He doesn't care what Ben Feingold thinks. Realizing, of course, they're probably good friends. In the opening, the theme of do not push your F5 pawn is when the center is fluid. When the center is open to your long-range bishops and queen and rooks. Do you see that? No, of course not. No, the F5 is the opening beginning of a kingside attack. That's why it's fine to push the pawn. Nothing is going to get to the black king in this position. Yeah? I mean, you can see that. Come on. It's not criminal to push that F5 in this situation. So here we go. Korchnoi bumps up to the F3 to support. And now we have, interestingly enough, F4, which really puts the squish onto Korchnoi's dark squared bishop. Now you might ask, at this point, instead of bumping F3, why didn't he just take the F5 pawn? Because if he responds with G takes, he's opening up his own king. Yeah? That would not be a good situation for Kasparov. You don't want to open your king if you're going to do a kingside attack. You want your king safe. That gives this, though. And that is simply exquisitely nice. Right? So don't help your opponent either make his position stronger, if you can at all help it, or facilitate his kingside attack. They both already know what side of the board they're going to play on. Right? So, Kasparov would have been jumping up and down out of his chair with joy had Korchnoi taking that pawn with his pawn. The better response was f3. So, why didn't Kasparov do that? Pretty much for the same reason in some respects. It puts a knight on e4, and what a knight! Yeah, he won't be attacked anytime soon, and he really has a magnificent sphere of influence there. So that's why Kasparov did not, I mean, that could have been one reason why Kasparov did not take the pawn. It is much stronger from here to continue and put that bishop way down. Now, realize this is the bishop. Korchnoi wants this bishop because it's the queenside looking bishop. Yeah, it can also affect the kingside defense, but this is a much stronger push. Center closed. Now he's got a clean shot for a queenside, and he's got a clean shot for a kingside. In this situation, the correct response, we have been told time and again, is anytime someone takes on a wing side attack, whichever wing side attack, the best way to refute it is attack in the center. But they can't. There is going to be no center attack in this game, or a counter attack. That's not happening. With the closed center, you're now in a 100-yard sprint. You go just as fast as you can at that king no matter what. You fully commit. And Korchnoi, you go after that queenside just as fast and hard as you can. It's a race now. This is the theory. This is the theme. I should say theme, not theory. So the bishop bumps to f2. And now, sure enough, here we go. Okay, g5, kingside attack is on. Aha, a4, queenside attack is on. Run that baby. Actually, you may as well bring it all in. This nice idea is for ideas like that. Truly, it really is. You get your other knight up to here, then over to b4, and then up into the outpost. So there's a lot happening with that a4 push. The queenside attack is coming on. Watch what Kasparov does. Now, he bumped the knight back to a real lousy square. But now look where that knight gets to go. Just because you bump a knight back does not mean it has to remain there. Let's get it on the king side. Here we go. This explodes into power, and Korchnoi also does not leave his knight that retreated back on the first rank. He is going to make use of it also, because here comes Kasparov, there goes Korchnoi. Here comes Korchnoi. Garry, you better pay the heck attention. Just as an observation, recognize how well set up they both are for their respective attacks. Look at those two bishops raking the queen side. Yeah. Slam the pawns up there and bring in these knights and devastate his queen side, because Kasparov, now more space here, but Kasparov has more space on the king side, and he is committing more and more to a full kingside attack. So he's not going to have the resources over here to stop Korchnoi's queenside attack. It is a race now. You ignore your opponent and you go into your attack full throttle. This is what you must do. And he does. C5. Full throttle. Yeah, he saw Garry do this. And of course there's h4 issues here. There's pawn pushes and then knight to h4. And then the bishop can come up too. And eventually, if the rook can't break through because of the pawn, the rook can come over. You got the queen zippity-doo-don, right to h4. You bring this knight out and you've got a bishop over here on this king side. So this position has dynamic potential, which means you're going to play fast, hard, and furious. This is the idea. My goodness, I'm wearing out. And h5. Here comes Kasparov. Korchnoi, you best pay attention. Here we go. Full on throttle. Now, here we begin to see a little bit of a crack in Korchnoi's psychology. When you're playing Kasparov, yeah, I'd have been shattered by now. Not just a little crack, but he does bump the h3. You ask, is this a better, I mean, you know, you've got this knight coming into this, and perhaps that's what Korchnoi was thinking, prevent the bishop. You're already going to have at least pawns, a knight, a bishop, a rook, and a queen into this. I mean, if you can prevent yet another piece, that might not be bad. The question is this a bulwark of defense? Does it help the defense, or is it what is called a hook that you can actually use as a target to attack? For instance, let's pretend he moved. Who is not aware of the bishop sacrifice to break the king side open? Right? Pushing the pawn gives Kasparov a potential target. Whereas if the pawn wasn't pushed, it's seriously doubtful Kasparov would throw that bishop out there. Right? So I'm just sharing some ideas, some pros and cons, some back and forths, some trying to figure out how, you know, this is it. I mean, he's coming full throttle, and so is Korchnoi though. But to start to pay attention about that might not be too good. Rook f7, potential future doubling the rooks, but really potential future putting the rook on the h7. And the reason that that is now a very real possibility is due to this pawn push. Very interesting, huh? Yeah. Is that a defense, or is that just a hook for Kasparov to open that, to pry open that h-file? That's one of the issues here. See, the idea of, now, this got tricky, and there's a lot of technical notes. There really are. There's a lot of technical notes. The issue is cracking open the queenside here at this point, which does open up the c file, which does give you a potential for rooks. He bumps up, pops his bishop, brings his rook, he'll bring his rook, etc. The issue here is it best for Korchnoi to open it at this point. And through some deep analysis and all, he decided to push one more. Hit the knight and break it open at the B pawn, not the D pawn. And so let's see if this works out for him. Kasparov was sharp enough, as we all know, to recognize, to realize this did not make it simpler for him on his own queenside. It made it more complex. So, let's shut it down first. Kasparov shows us that killing the queenside, blam, right there. Let's put a halt to this. Let's stop this counterplay noise so that I can get on with it. That's good chess. Part of the process of taking a kingside is to stopping the queenside. Part of the process of taking over the queenside is to put a stop to the kingside, but Korchnoi can't. So Kasparov is in the better position. So stop it right now. What he's trying like crazy to do, yeah, that takes away the outpost for the knight. That's true at this point, but maybe not. But what also he's trying to do is prevent knight b5. He does not want the knights to come in here for the very obvious reason. Not only do they create chaos, but you got these two bishops raking into this. So Kasparov is in some interesting danger here with that pawn push. He eliminates part of the problem. Right now, let's just stop it right now. That's his idea of pushing the a5. And the c takes the b7. So he does try to get something opened up. The other interesting situation... Oh, no. I missed a move. I was wondering why this looked so funny. Doggone it, I hate it when I do that. That's what I get for taking my own notes. After the knight went to g6, and after Korchnoi pushed knight d3, you guys are probably laughing right now. You're saying, hey, you skipped a move, dork. Yeah, I did. This knight came to f6. There, that looks better. Oh, my goodness. Full side kingside attack, knight f6, and then c5 bumped, then h5. So that was a few moves ago. Holy cow, a3. Man, I completely blew that part. So anyway, that does not change the character of the game, nor the moves of Korchnoi. Sorry I skipped that move. So this is what's so important. And the reason I noticed that I skipped the move is because in the comments on the game, Kasparov wants this bishop because it's going to be into the kingside. It will help his kingside. Look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces in a kingside. That's absolutely a pure recipe for complete total success. The more pieces into the battle, the better. He just about has his whole army. And if you can get this rook over here, if the queenside doesn't work out, he can get all of his pieces into it, yeah? So he does not want to lose the bishop, right? So the bishop will take the pawn, and now here comes b4. Yeah, the queenside is beginning to get some momentum here. And the idea of getting this up into this is, again, these two knights. You want those up there right now, just as soon as you can. So continue pressing, ignoring the kingside over here. Let's make the queenside happen. Now watch what Kasparov does. And this elicited a comment. Or 2 or 10 or 20 or 50 or 500 or 60,000. The coolest comment I've read on this move is, sometimes the piece is best developed on its own starting square. That's a great way to put it. Put that bishop back. Do not monkey around. Do not worry about refuting the queenside attack. Do not start dispersing your resources over here to refute the queenside attack. That will stall your own attack. This is the lesson of this game. And this is why I wanted to show it to you. Kasparov does not, he certainly does not come here in order to exchange one of the very dangerous knights. Those knights get up into here, it's chaos. It's pure heck. That gives Korchnoi great power in his queenside attack. But Kasparov does not then take his bishop and eliminate one of Korchnoi's pieces. No, he does not do that. He brings it back to facilitate his own attack. That is the takeaway in this game. Man, when you attack, it's best to use all your pieces. This is a beautiful illustration. You say, well, you're not supposed to move a piece back. Bunk. Don't buy into that. If the world champion, Garry Kasparov, can move a piece back to his optimal square for optimal power and operation, if the world champion can do that and says it's okay, then it's all good. But you got to make sure that the position calls for it, right? What I think the theme is, you don't want to just put a piece forward and then just lackadaisically put it back. And then go forward, and then put it back, and then come forward, and then put it back, and then come forward and put it back. No, I think the idea is, in moving pieces forward, yes, they're more active, which gives them greater strength, as long as they're coordinated with all of the pieces. But sometimes going back in order to go forward is very necessary, and it's not a crisis. It's not a crime. It's not a disaster. That is, believe it or not, and you go, well, you just shut up and take us to the attack. I will. It's beautiful. But this is the takeaway. Do not buy into the idea that you only move forward and never, but no, there's nothing that concrete ever in any chess rule. Chess rules are a guide, not a law. There are exceptions to every chess rule in existence, I promise. Yeah, the position is what determines what to do with your pieces, not the rules. This gives Korchnoi the opportunity. So, isn't it remarkable? Kasparov did take the pawn. And he did this. He looked over, took a pawn, and he instantly snapped back to his own attack. Korchnoi is ignoring as much as he can over here. And he too is continuing on his attack, right? So this is great how they're doing this. Very, very instructive. Bishop h6. Here we go. What are you looking at in that Kingside attack? The g5 pawn, yeah? g5 going to 4. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. The other advantage of the bishop to h6 is you give your queen a chance, put her on the f, and get her up into this. Once those pawns come in here, and start shattering things. In the meantime, Korchnoi has a critically powerful opening here. Let's see how he handles this. This is remarkable. because he made a miscalculation. Dang it, man! They both know how powerful those knights are going to be and what a reign of terror they're going to perform on the queen side. Yes, but not right now. There is a better move. What this does, it's too slow. Kasparov is already here. You gotta get there, not prepare to get there. You've got to get there. And the move he missed was 6. Kasparov is not going to take that pawn. He does not want the pawn. He wants that bishop. Besides, if Kasparov took the pawn, Korchnoi would bump up, hitting the bishop, and then if the bishop moved back, Korchnoi would gladly come back up into here and start his queenside. That would have given Korchnoi counterplay had he pushed that. Because look, now, Kasparov had this. Had Korchnoi done this, Kasparov done this, then there's the win. Why? Because the next move is here and escorted in. Because it's protected by the bishop. It's protected by the bishop. He could have got it in, man. That was the win. Dadgummit. So, but he didn't do that. He did not go there. He went to knight b4, which, no, okay, let's keep watching. He needed a6 with the idea of pushing to a7 past pawn and escorting it in. And now, sure, here comes g4. Absolutely. That is obviously the next move. Break the kingside open. Truly, truly. And now, the whole c6 is what Kasparov has been trying to fight off by him taking the pawn with the bishop and not, because that hole is so powerful. But without this, the queenside fizzles. Dadgummit, he can't, if he could have gotten the rook into this and the queen up into this a couple of moves ago, instead of, you know, the importance of just one tempo. And the notes to the game say that. They say, man, just one tempo makes all the difference. Yeah, this is okay, but it actually helps Garry put his queen on a better square to help his kingside. Because now the bishop can come up and vacate the h6 for the queen, and they're gonna go. So, Korchnoi is just one move shy. Doggone it. He can't. The attack is here. Okay? He tried. He got on a great outpost, but it's an empty oil well. With Kasparov's development, now with the attack, Korchnoi has to turn to the kingside. He has to thwart this. He does so with the F. F takes. H takes. Here comes the open H file. Here comes the open H file. H takes. And now Korchnoi is in trouble because the bishop truly goes to g5, vacating the h6 for the queen, of course. That's obvious. Bishop f3, he's going to try to put on a stellar defense. Queen h6, of course. Now we're looking at mating threats. Rook e1, he's going to vacate the f1 e2 for his king if he can. And now knight. Interesting. Knight to h4. He does, Kasparov does, it was tempting to use the bishop. But that would, the way the exchange would have happened, it would have given the king an escape. He calculated all that out. It's what the notes say. So he put the knight there, and the bishop takes the knight. Now, instead of the queen taking, the bishop takes. Hitting the rook. And at this point, there isn't a lot of defense for Korchnoi. He tries, but it's truly a despair move. Pawn to g5, and queen will simply take the pawn. Yeah, that's not that big of a deal. And now the rook to e2. He's going to try to give as much support as he can. And now the knight to g4. And here it comes, man. Piece by piece. Now, I learned from one of the YouTube international master chess instructors who has a lot of good videos. I'd like to give him a shout out. He doesn't know me from Adam, and he probably doesn't care who I am, but I do care who he is. He's very, very, very good. And just as I say that, his name is on the tip of my tongue, and I can't remember it. Oh, I was just watching him and Nakamura the other night on YouTube, working some chess videos together. Oh, I am so sorry, dude. Ha! That's embarrassing. Anyway, he says, the rule of +2 in a kingside attack. Crap, the difficulty of old age, you know. I'm not old yet. I'm getting older. Piece by piece by piece by piece. If you have +2 pieces more than your opponent in an attack, then you're okay. And this is what we're seeing Kasparov do. Oh, I'm so mad at myself, I can't remember his name. Right on the tip of my tongue. Tip of the tongue phenomenon. Gotham Chess is his channel. Gotham Chess. Yeah. He's an international master, and he is exquisitely good. Now, there are some people who think he's too arrogant and too cocky. Pfft. The information he shares is really good. I personally really like it. So, just for what it's worth, the rule of +2 in a kingside attack. This is it. Let's see here. Yeah, rook e2. We went to rook e2 and then knight g4. Yeah, and now Korchnoi does get on the file, but it's too little too late. His pawn never got pushed. Again, beautiful outpost, completely worthless. Oh, how he wishes he was there. Yeah. So there's another mini lesson. But, I mean, he did it right. He had to go to the queenside. Yeah. Yeah. But this outpost just does not, it's just not there. Even this one would have been vastly better. Even though it's further down, that would have been a much better outpost than that one, but that's how the ball rolls. Rook b1, and now bishop g3. Step by step by step. Yeah. Getting to the king. Now he has complete mastery of all the dark squares around the king that have been weakened because the h-file was busted open, and now it is curtains. It's really a foregone conclusion that he's going to lose. And then the ultimate queen to h4. Yeah, fantastic. And it was here that he resigns. for the simple reason that he just cannot prevent queen to h2 and king and then queen down to mate him. So that was an epic battle. That was an exquisite example of a couple of takeaway things that I have said in my videos. I will re-emphasize that though, because the notes in this game emphasized it. The theme that when the center is locked, and you'll notice the center has remained that way throughout the course of the game. It was locked early on, nothing came through it. It can't. So you pick a wing in this opening with basically the queenside opening against the King's Indian. Korchnoi played this a lot. This is one that he lost, but he won hundreds of games against the King's Indian. That's why he wasn't very impressed with it. But in this setup, the pawns are going this way. That's why he went to the queenside. Kasparov, of course, went to the kingside and got there first. Step by step by step. The takeaway is once you start your attack, you keep right on going. And if you can kill counterplay, as Kasparov did with that magnificent A5, which was an exclamation point move, stopping the counterplay for 2 or 3 moves, which enabled him to get 1 or 2 more pieces into that attack, to straighten out the pawn situation, and then go right back with your piece. That's the other takeaway. Very important to stay focused. Do not get distracted and take your resources over to here to counterfight him on the queenside. No, you keep attacking your side. Great game to illustrate that. So anyway, Gotham Chess, I apologize, I can't remember your name. He always goes, not Trey, he always goes by his first name too. He's a great kid. He's young and he is over the top brilliant in chess. I'm just so impressed with him. He's good. He's fun to watch. Yeah, he's a little cocky. He's earned it. I promise. Just ignore that part of it. His personality, he's hilarious. I think he's got great humor. If I was in his position, that's how I'd be. Give me 5 or 6 or 7 years and I might be at least hopefully up to 1800. Speaking of which, I just crossed the 1700 threshold. And yeah, it's online, so it probably doesn't mean a whole lot. The meaning of it to me is, when I got online, you know how they provisionally start you at 1500? Well, I instantly slid all the way down the ladder. You remember that old game, Chutes and Ladders? No, none of you are old enough. Anyway, I slid down the long ladder to about 1100, 1150, whatever. So for the last few years, I've been working my way back up. Well, I crossed the 1700 threshold mark. I'll probably get beat a few more times so that I go back down to probably a more realistic rating in the, the middle 1600s or whatever. My point from my psychology is, hey, I've gone from 1100 to 1700. I understand it's all kind of skitty-wampus. It doesn't matter. I'm going the right direction. That's how to use the online rating system. So it's exciting that the study of Grandmaster games, viewing videos like you guys do mine and others out there in YouTube land, are very helpful. Studying the chess texts, it works. It's very helpful. So keep going in the meantime. Remember, be good, do well, have fun, stay calm, be nice. And I will see you guys in the next Backyard Professor Chess video.